and welcome to a new video. I'm looking a little messy today, but we're just gonna ignore that. I didn't feel like getting ready this morning. I am doing a reading vlog for this video, and it's sort of a themed thing. So what I did is I asked 3 different romance booktubers that I really enjoy watching what their favorite book was, or a couple of their favorite books, so I could look them up and see if I can find them on the library. And I'm going to read them and see if I like them too. So it's kind of like a taste test kind of thing. I'm still trying to think of like a cute title for this video. I'm probably just gonna call it like trying the favorite books of other romance booktubers or something along those lines, maybe with less words. But I thought I would share my TBR real quick. I'm hoping to start one of these today. So first off, I have 2 on audiobook and then I have 1 on ebook. So the first one is Royally Matched by Emma Chase. It is the second book in the Royalty series by Emma Chase. I just finished the first one because I had accidentally rented the first one instead of the second one. And I just read it anyway and I quite liked it. It was like a 4 stars, and I am very excited to start the second one because I think I have an idea of who this is going to be following. And so I am really excited to get started on that. And this was the recommendation from Averie Loves Books. I will tag everyone's information below, of course, and I am very excited to read this. I think often Averie and I have quite similar tastes in reading, and I am so excited that she gave me this recommendation. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I did enjoy the first one, but I didn't love the like royal and commoner like dynamic, and I think this one is like royal and like someone who could be realistically married to a royal. So I am very excited to give this one a try. I cannot wait. Next, I have The Hunter by Kerrigan Byrne. I was able to get this one on audiobook from Libby as well, and this is a recommendation from Live a Novel Life. Live Your Novel Life, Tori. And I am so excited. This is a historical romance, so I'm really excited there was a historical thrown into the mix on here because that's kind of the mood I'm in. There's a lot going on in this like summary. It's got Christopher Argent, he's an assassin, there's other spy stuff going on, so I'm very excited. It's definitely going to be a unique book, I think. And I have never read a Kerrigan Byrne, so I am very excited to give her a try. Everyone is always talking about The Highwayman, so I am very excited to give Kerrigan Byrne a try and see if I want to read more of her books. I think I probably will, realistically. So I am very excited to read this. Thank you again, Tori, for your recommendation. All of her channel information and her podcast information will be in the description below. And then lastly, I have this one on Kindle because I had actually got it for free on Kindle. And that is The Kingmaker by Kennedy Ryan. I am really excited to try this book. So Crystal Bookish Life is who recommended this to me, and I love Crystal's channel so much. She has been making videos for, I don't know, a year now or so, and I feel like I've been watching her for almost that whole time, and I have just loved seeing her channel grow and seeing all of her recommendations. I think her and I do have some similar reading tastes a lot of the times. Sometimes I think she has a better attention span than me because she'll read like longer fantasy books, and like I read longer fantasy books, but I can't always do it. So I am very excited to give this a try. I have read another book by Kennedy Ryan, I'm pretty sure, on the Read Me Romance podcast, and I liked it. I didn't love it, but I think that this one looks really good, and if I'm not mistaken, I think this one is being made into a movie at some point, so that's really exciting. I'm not 100% sure about that. I would have to fact check that, but I am really excited for this TBR, and thank you again to Averie, Tori, and Crystal for your recommendations. This is going to be so much fun. I will continue to update you as I read them and give you my thoughts on what I think about these recommendations from romance booktubers. Hello, a reading update for my Try a Booktuber's Favorite Book vlog. I'm technically on my YouTube break right now, but if I don't do this wrap up for this book, I'm not going to remember enough about what it was about. So I read Royally Matched by Emma Chase, and I am going to give it probably like a 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I loved the characters. I think a lot of the times Averie and I can have pretty similar tastes when it comes to like what kind of hero, what kind of heroine we like. So I did really love the dynamic between these characters. I loved the bookish, quiet girl and the sort of party boy, but he has a soft spot for her kind of thing. I really enjoyed their dynamic. I loved the emotional component as they developed their relationship, and the like real conversations they had about what it would mean for them to be together, because he's literally going to be king. So I really enjoyed it. The only part that kind of knocked it off a half star is the ending really felt like it came out of left field. Like it did not feel like it fit the rest of the book. And I know it was them, or specifically him, like addressing his past trauma, but it just was like, that's how you're gonna, like, you have war trauma and your solution is to go back to war. I don't get it. But so that was the only part I didn't like. And then I didn't really understand her choices either, so it was a little weird, but I do think it handled the characters very well overall, and I loved the chemistry. Bit of a trigger warning for parental abuse in like child abuse, so that was a little hard to read, but I do think it was handled and written very well. So I enjoyed it. I think it definitely gets a check mark from me. I definitely trust Averie's recommendations. I have found a lot of romance books that I love based off of her recommendations. I read A Notorious Vow by Joanna Shoup because she had mentioned it on her channel, and that is, I mean, Joanna Shoup, love it, love that book. I read all of the Talia Hibbert books that I've read so far because she had mentioned them on her channel, and I love all of those books so far and can't wait to read more. And I plan on reading Ice Planet Barbarian soon, which has, at this point in time of June 9th, has completely blown up on TikTok. Super weird. It's been on my radar for quite a while as a book that I want to read, just haven't gotten to it yet. And like in the past, I never had Kindle Unlimited until recently. So definitely a weird moment happening on TikTok right now. I don't know how I feel about like all of these TikTok type book people suddenly being in this like other realm of romance. It feels like two separate worlds to me colliding, but hey, more people reading romance, I'm here for it. So I definitely think Averie is a great person to find recommendations from, and I will for sure be reading more books by her in the future. So I hope you go and check out her channel. All of the information for all the booktubers in this video will be down below. Next, I will be reading The Hunter by Kerrigan Byrne. I think I only have a couple days left on this audiobook on Libby, so I'm gonna have to renew it. And that is the recommendation by Tori, and I am very excited. I don't know how much of a mood I am in for historical romance, but like I know I'll say that right now and then I'll get 20% and be like, yes, let's do it. I love it. So, and I'm so excited to finally be trying a Kerrigan Byrne because I feel like I've heard nothing but good things. So I will update you some point in the near future with my wrap up of that one. I have so precariously balanced my camera between the top of my laptop and like the candle behind my laptop. It's ridiculous, but let's do a reading update. So it is July 8th. This reading vlog, I think I started it at the end of April or like mid-May. So it's long, but to be fair, I took like a 6-week break off of YouTube and I didn't really do a whole lot of reading for this reading vlog or for my comic book reading vlog in that time. But let's wrap up with The Hunter by Kerrigan Byrne. I finished it last week, I believe. I don't know what to say about it. I liked it. I liked the writing. I gave it 3 stars. It was a solid historical romance. I think I just was discovering tropes that I like and tropes that I don't like, and I think that this one just had some tropes that I don't like. I liked the characters. I liked the setup of like the assassin. It was fun. I love a morally gray hero like we see in Joanna Shoup's book quite a few times. I just didn't love the relationship between these two, and obviously in a romance that's kind of the important part. I loved their chemistry. That's not to say they didn't have chemistry. I just was never fully convinced. That airplane is so loud, it's honestly rude. I was never fully convinced that they were in love. Did they have a like very sexual relationship? Did they have a lot of physical chemistry? Did they have attraction to each other? Yes, but I never was really convinced that he reciprocated the feelings that she had began to like develop, I never really got that they loved each other. There just, I think, was not enough communication for me between the two of them. It was just kind of like, well, they lusted after each other and then they slept together and then that connection was just there. And I was like, but y'all have not had a single conversation about anything really. So it was just weird. There was also a couple scenes that made me a little uncomfy. Like the whole premise that she was basically using sex with her as payment for him not killing her, kind of. It was a weird situation. I didn't love that. Like, nothing against like a main character being a prostitute, that would be one thing, or like a sex worker, but this just felt like a much more like manipulative situation. And then I didn't love this scene where they sleep together and he thinks it's a dream at first, or for like most of it, and I just was like, I feel like he is not fully present, fully conscious in this situation, and therefore not necessarily fully making the decision, the choice to sleep with her in that moment, and so that made me a little uncomfy. All of this being said, it is not a bad book. It was an enjoyable book with a lot of twists and turns. I think I just found some tropes that are not for me, and that's okay. But I did like Kerrigan Byrne's writing. She can write a fun, steamy romance, and I do still want to pick up more books by her. I just think I'll have to look more deeply into which tropes or trigger warnings come up in her books, because I know she does tend to write on the darker side, and I am learning that there's not a lot of the darker side of romance that I am interested in personally. So that is my update on that one. Tori's book, Dunn. I did really enjoy it. I did enjoy it. I'm not hating on her book, I promise. It was pretty good. I just didn't love every single aspect. And I think it was heavily influenced, my opinion was heavily influenced by how incredibly stressed I was while reading this, just because it was pretty close to my test. So I just wasn't in the mood for like this heavier type romance. I did enjoy it still. A lot of external factors and just little details, that tropes that just aren't for me, and that's okay. Next, the last book I have is The Kingmaker by Kennedy Ryan, which is Crystal's recommendation. I don't know when I'm going to read it, hopefully soon. I am currently reading 2 books, so maybe after that. But yeah, that is my update, and then maybe finally I could upload this video after, what, like 3 months? But anyway, that's my update for The Hunter, and I will see you when I finish The Kingmaker. Hello, it is time for one last update for this reading vlog. I did not finish The Kingmaker by Kennedy Ryan, and I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm just DNFing it. First off, Crystal, if you do get the chance to watch this, I still love most of your recommendations. I've actually read quite a few books at this point, mostly I think historical romances off of your channel, and I've loved everything else. There's just something about this book that I just can't finish it, and I don't know if it's just kind of the reading mood that I'm in that's, you know, kind of combating it, or I don't know if it's just the writing style is just not for me. But I have been trying to read this book for like 3 weeks and I'm still only 30% in. It's just not going to happen. I will kind of explain a couple of things why this book is just not for me. The biggest thing I think is the writing style. The premise of the story I like. I don't love that he's lying to her about being who he is. I don't like that. I don't really like when characters lie to each other in a romance. You could say he's not actively lying, he's just withholding the truth, that kind of bullshit, but he's lying to her. And I'm 30% in and that still hasn't been brought up, and they've slept together and I am just uncomfy with that. Another thing that makes me uncomfy is the fact that they met when she was 17. And I know she was 17, which is almost 18, and he's really... a hummingbird! Sorry. He's really only a couple years older, like 5 years older, so it's not even like that big of an age gap. But the fact that so much emphasis was put on the fact that she was 17 when they met, and they like won't stop bringing it up, it just weirds me out. Like, Like if it was one thing, it was in that first chapter and then they got over it and would stop bringing it up, then maybe I would have forgotten about it. But like literally both of them are like, if I hadn't been 17, if she hadn't been 17, oh, she was jailbait, blah, blah, blah. It just was weird. It kept getting brought up. So that made me uncomfortable. While I think the best thing this book did is I really, really appreciated how much research Kennedy Ryan put into it. I am in Arizona. I'm not Native American, but I grew up around a lot of that narrative of people fighting for the rights to those lands. In nursing school, we learned a lot about their culture and, you know, how that we should be educated in that, and when we are providing health care to Native American people, especially some of my classmates actually went onto the reservation up north to go to the hospital that's there. I didn't, because I couldn't drive the 2 hours because I didn't have a car, and obviously there's still plenty I could educate myself on. But I grew up in Arizona. The main character goes to ASU. I didn't go to ASU, but everyone else I know did. So I did enjoy that setting and the obvious amount of research that went into this. She obviously did a lot of work, and it comes across about how knowledgeable she is. And I know a lot of I've been reading a lot of the Goodreads reviews, and a lot of the people are like, in the negative reviews are saying, I hate how she inputs so much of her like political stances and all this stuff about environmentalism, blah, blah, blah. That part didn't bother me. I enjoyed that part of the story because it's all stuff I agree with. Obviously, we're going to need to find a cleaner energy in the near future if we don't want to all die, but that part was fine with me. I'm fine with her, you know, implementing some sort of moral story into this romance story. It was the characters that I just didn't like, in the writing. The characters themselves, Lennox and whatever his name is, they had no chemistry, in my opinion. Like, they were just so two-dimensional, and it's like I was never once convinced that there was a spark between them, and that yet they meet again when she's in her senior year of college, and they're in Amsterdam, and it's supposed to be this big magical moment, and like I never felt that. They just happened to meet, and then they're sleeping together, and there was just no chemistry for me. I just didn't feel it. I didn't see it. It was very much telling us what was happening instead of showing us what was happening, you know? So I didn't feel it between them at all. And my other thing, and this is probably the biggest thing that made me DNF it, was, I don't know how old Kennedy Ryan is, but as a recently graduated senior in Arizona, now I went to NAU, not ASU, but I'm pretty sure the students there are quite similar. I know a lot of people that went to ASU, so I'd like to think I know what a senior at ASU is like, and this was not it. I don't know what Kennedy Ryan is watching or reading, but that's just not what 22-year-olds talk like. The lingo and the phrases, maybe that's what they talked like in like the 90s, but this was like present time. I don't know. I wasn't alive enough of the 90s to know, but like no ASU senior is speaking like that. The phrases they used were just, I don't know if they were just outdated or just like stereotypical stuff that adults think young adults say. I don't know. But there was just so much talk about her virginity, Lennox's, and the way they spoke about it was just so over the top cheesy, and I hated every second of it. The phrases they used, if I have to read V-card one more time, I will lose my mind. Nobody says that. Nobody says that. And I don't know, maybe I'm just hanging out with much different people than these girls were, but nobody talks like that. And like, maybe some people would use it like ironically, But these girls were being 100% serious, and I hated it. I hated it. I don't know. It was just so infuriating because they were supposed to be 22 or 21-year-old girls in Amsterdam, and the way they spoke to each other was just ridiculous. And again, it's not like I have a huge group of friends, or like even like a huge group of girlfriends or whatever. So maybe like I'm the outlier here, but I'd like to think in my 5 years of college experience, I heard a lot, and I just don't think that this was it. No one speaks like this. And that's a big thing for me in a lot of books that have younger protagonists. If you cannot sound like a normal human, it drives me insane. The other book that did that for me was Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda. I love that book. I do. But Becky Albertalli did the same thing, trying so hard to sound like a teenager that she's just sounded ridiculous. And that was the case in this book, and it really bothered me. Like I just can't do it. So yeah, I'm sorry to end this vlog on sort of a bad note, but this one's a DNF for me. There was nothing I was enjoying about it, so I had to put it down. And I was looking at some of the reviews. I think this is a duology on top of it, and I could not have, like, I didn't have the energy to finish this one, let alone start reading a second one. So I think it's just best for me to let it go. That's not to say I'll never read a Kennedy Ryan book again. If she's got some books where the characters are just regular adults, I'd love to try that out. Because I've heard really good things about her Hoops series, so maybe I'll try that. This one, I couldn't do it. There were just so many things, and the mindset I'm in right now, I'm in such a reading slump. I just don't have the time to put into a book that I know that I'm not liking. So that's that. I'm really sorry to end on a bad note, but this book was bad, so it's not bad. It's just bad for me. It wasn't for me. I'm sure there are people out there that would like it. And usually, you know, contemporary romance, it really depends on the context and the writing for me to like it. So this just wasn't for me. I still love you though, Crystal. And I know that there are a lot of books from your recommendations that I know that I will like. And there are some that I still want to read. So that's it for my reading booktubers recommendations. This vlog took literally 12 years, it feels like. I would like to do this again, but I think I'm gonna have to wait till I'm in a more balanced spot in my life where I have some more time for reading. Being a new nurse is hard, so I'm definitely busy, but I will let you know if I'm gonna do this video again and try some different booktubers recommendations. Maybe one day I'll do another one from Crystal, do like second time's the charm, right? Yeah, so that was, I feel like I didn't love any of these books. I liked the first two. I will say Averie's book that I can't remember the title of off the top of my head, I think that was my favorite. I did like The Hunter by Kerrigan Byrne, but it was a very middle of the road historical romance for me. And then The Kingmaker was just, it was a fail for me. It was a DNF. So I hope this video wasn't too much of a downer. I feel like I did a lot of rant complaining, but I promise I'm not that grumpy all the time. So I hope you enjoyed the video, even though it was kind of a mess. And I will see you guys next time for my next video. I upload every Sunday, occasionally bonus videos, though I don't see that happening a lot in the near future. But I hope you enjoyed. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.